We are clear. I'm frozen. That's normal. We're late. That's normal. Welcome into another episode of Good Morning NASDAQ. We are live on the 12th day of October 2023 in a heated up, crazy market. We got Jack Kellogg with us. We got Huddy the Hudster with us. I am Dom, your host. Welcome in. We have a very, very easy policy that if you want to keep this show free and you want to watch it, you have to smash that like button. Upon entering, it seems that there's a lot more viewers than there is likes, so we need to get that number a little closer to each other. We got Joseph in the chat, Mark in the chat. Dawson says the like button has been smashed. Appreciate it if all of you would participate in that like button smashing as well. Helps the algorithm, helps our relationship with management. You know. JJ says hot market for now. We shall see. We got stuff to talk about. We've had Israeli conflict to start the week. We had low flow biotech runners going 1,000% to medium the week, and we will see what finishes the week. I know both. Did Huddy just disappear? Kellogg?
Hi.
Oh, you're still here.
I'm here.
All right, so we're going to see how the week wraps up. So we brought in our specialist, Jack Kellogg, to kind of discuss. He didn't make any trades yesterday. He was just watching and chilling. What are your thoughts going into the end of the week? I know you posted some in Clover last night. Maybe a little bit too excitement on the side of buyers, maybe a little bit of fear in the eyes of shorts. And maybe today we get some gap and craps, some weakness. How do you see this week playing out?
Yeah, really big mega runner yesterday. Obviously, a lot of people are very excited. We reached like what, 20, what percentage did we reach
I
up?
think it was almost 3,000.
Almost 3,000%, which I think breaks the record in terms of like a one-day runner gap up situation. Like, obviously not like a multi-day runner or an IPO or any of that stuff, or just like something that were to gap up. Crappy biotech, of course, from 20 cents would be the one to do it. And now we're seeing, 500% gap ups in after hours from SECO and
OPGN.
And I definitely think there's going to be a little bit easier of opportunity today than yesterday. Yesterday, there's just a lot of volatility, a lot of movement, a lot of kind of choppy price action, a lot of emotion in the market. And with TSP down 43% in the pre-market, I think that it's topped. I don't think it's going to go over 10. I'd be very surprised if it did. And all these other ones are just kind of, still steaming away. OPGN, I know, is a very crappy company. And I know that they probably have dilution without even really like looking into it too much. SECO, a little bit more, games being played here in the pre-market, but still up 700% and still should have sellers come in at market open. And then you got a couple, when you're a couple low-hanging fruits, JEGX and RSLS, when they're still up 100%, that we're kind of in this euphoric type market. So I think there should be some pretty decent opportunity.
What's the strategy going forward with all these plays? You weren't on Wine Wednesday, but we kind of talked about, someone like me, someone who's has their patterns, and it's not like momentum like this. It's not attacking the hottest stocks of the day on day 1 and 2. What's the strategy for that person going into the end of the week when they're looking at all these things running and they feel the urge to participate?
I'd say really just like sit back, look at other stuff. Like you still have other multi-day setups. You have TTOO, CEI. You had RVLP, but it tanked here. The pre-market on bankruptcy news. You
Just
got
another
BNOX.
cheapie.
Yep, another cheapie, proven to be another cheapie. And you have, I think there's a couple more. Oh,
AVTX.
TUP. I think that's actually a really clean setup.
Yeah.
One green day from $1, all the way from $1 now to 270 with, a few really nice green days, budging into resistance. So I feel like that's kind of a lock for people who aren't looking to trade this type of crazy price action.
Yeah, and that was kind of my whole spiel yesterday was that, you know, generally speaking, when this happens with the market, we talked about the SPY and the correlation to liquidity picking up in small caps as the market found a short-term bottom and has bounced now for like a week straight. But all of this liquidity, the volatility, the insane runners should just make a lot of the patterns we already trade a little bit better, a little more conviction, a little more buyers chasing high day, a little more shorts attacking the bid. And that was kind of my whole thing was there are still other plays that are setting up. And my whole goal isn't to just delete those from my watch list and add all of these new runners to my list and try to figure out a way to trade them when it's not necessarily an edge for me. It's to focus on the charts that are already there and expect maybe there might be a little more a volume, or in the worst case, at least it's something I know what I'm doing on, and if I take a loss, I'm not frustrated or regret it because I'm going outside of my comfort zone to try to trade something. And there are other multi-day runners out there. I have them all posted on my watch list that I'm watching, and almost none of them have anything to do with what's going on with these biotechs right now. So don't fret. And what I am doing with these, I'm not just deleting them all from my watch list, is watching them for future moves. I doubt TPST is going any higher. I think Kyle just posted they have like 90 something million left of an ATM. Usually the first runner, once it kind of squeezes out that far, very, very difficult for it to ever get back towards those highs. But it doesn't mean any of the new runners we've seen today, your OPGNs, your RSLSs, your JAGX, those the other SECO, these ones can't go on multi-day runs and become really nice trades going forward. Just realizing it's the same approach as every other day of the market for me, where I'm waiting for daily chart setups and I'm not forcing on day ones and twos when I already know I don't have an edge. Just having some momentum in the market doesn't automatically give me an edge. It just makes me more frustrated when I lose on them, and I see everyone else cashing in. How do you got anything on this topic?
Yeah. Yeah, so sorry, my camera kind of drains my computer battery. I have too many. I'm on a laptop right now, and I have so many gadgets and gadgets hooked up.
Huddy, we forgive you.
Great. So I want to kind of break down the story on TPST, kind of give you guys the real skinny of what's going on from what I hear. TPST was an absolutely manipulated move based off some kind of algo that was abusing the limit up and limit down functions and the ability to do it so easily within a 17-cent spread. Once we hit the after hours, they no longer had the ability to abuse that algo, and that's why you kind of saw it unravel. But the question is, why was that algo on in the first place? Why did they squeeze it to 10? Well, if you listen to their conference call, if you did any kind of due diligence, you know that they, they have this like product to get to the market, and the basics of it is it costs $100 million in order to get that product to the market. Or if they get a partnership, it's $50 million. The main goal here, in my opinion, was to unlock the shelf, unlock the baby shelf rule, get this to a level where they could dilute and put out that offering that they did this morning and unlock the full capabilities of that 100 mil offering that they already had. And now they can freely dilute and make the money themselves. So this whole thing, in my opinion, was like that is why TPST ran. And you have to understand that SECO, OPGN, all of these things that are spiking now in relation to it don't have that same agenda in their back pocket. Maybe they do. Some research to be done. But for the most part, it's highly doubtful that all three of these things that are up and spiking have the same agenda as TPST or the same capabilities to even run that type of algo. So it's different. It's different than what TPST was, and I don't think they should at all be treated the same way. That's why I'm mainly bearish on everything that's spiking right now. They are all, just chase your market frenzy, and it's very rare that you see things hold up 600-700%. TPST is probably one of the few anomalies that you're going to see in your whole lifetime of trading.
We lost you, Budsy.
He left again.
All right, see you later, Huddy.
Okay,
Yeah,
where do
that
we
was
want to go from here? Do we want to go into some of the new charts and just talk about this due diligence? Do we want to talk about other multi-day setups? Just seeing we got, man, this is the biggest list of gappers we've had in a long time, even down into the 40s and 50 percenters.
you want to go through the dilution and the OPGN, SECO,
Yeah, let's do that.
IGAC, RSLS. I think that'd be beneficial for the viewers.
So OPGN was the second biggest. I don't know, can't remember if Seco or OPGN was the second biggest runner yesterday, but both 500+% movers, all from that 20-30 cent area into the dollar range. Shareholders of those stocks are pretty happy this morning. Let's take a look at dilution tracker on OPGN. Keep in mind, I'm not the professional in fundamentals. That's why I use something like dilution tracker, so it kind of gives me a blank statement approach to what does it look like. So making sure there wasn't any news. Yeah, most of these aren't going to have news. They were just being followed because of their floats, because of their market caps, because of their sector that they're in, their industry. And generally speaking, these are all former runners as well that people go back to when that theme is warming up. And you have 1,000% runner, it's almost always going to bring in more attention and volume into other stocks as well, as that stock goes further and further and people are less likely to chase, and it's more in the hands of short sellers. Overall risk of dilution here is high. They can dilute up to, looks like 20 something million. They have negative 1.5 months of cash left. They have about 10 million offering price from 2023. Anything stick out here to you, my friend? I got warrants at 77 cents, 77 cents, 77 cents.
Just kind of what I would expect. Actually had SECO and OPGN on a former runner list from the beginning of the year, my January list. SECO, I'm pretty sure, tried to get some hype off of the AI bubble. Now they're trying to get some hype off of this biotech bubble. So, we're seeing a big crash here on TTOO right now. Looks like some news maybe came out. But yeah, just very, very crappy companies.
Negative 15 months of cash left for Seco.
Yeah, these companies are going to dilute, in my opinion, as quick as possible. They know that they're not going to last up these insane percentages.
Tattoo reverse split.
Reverse split, of course. Another penny down the drain.
R.I.P.
Yep, it's just a matter of time before CEI does a reverse split. I can only imagine.
They keep doing them pre-market too.
I've never seen a market this brutal for news.
Dude, I'm just not swinging anything overnight unless I have a giant cushion, feel really good about the like daily chart, like after EBET, after every single one of these that's reverse split. Like, it's just not worth sitting in them overnight, even if they're holding your risk, even if you're up a little bit. Like, to have to be at your computer staring at that specific stock for 2 hours every pre-market and 4 hours after hours, not something I want to be doing to not get caught in a reverse split.
Yeah, not at all. 100%
right. There's a few other gappers. VS, is that one an actual stock? So there's another 20-cent stock. Went up towards $1 this morning. Started running today. Let's see. Oh, you can't see a chart. Versus Systems.
Pretty sad on TTO. One of the better runners we had here. I was kind of rooting for it to
do something crazy,
rip back up, make a nice breakout end of year, but none of these stocks can hold.
And just to clarify for the viewers who don't quite understand reverse splits yet, I encourage you guys to do some due diligence on them. I think Roland has a lot of good videos on reverse splits as well. Just like, why do these just become pretty much unplayable once the reverse split happens? Why does it immediately make us like delete these tickers? Axla, EBET.
They just stop trading. They just start trading really edge. Like, there's not much of an edge anymore once they do these splits, unfortunately.
It's kind of all the trading beforehand is a means to an end, and the end is the reverse split. It's a way to raise money. hit some requirements for the NASDAQ, and then it goes back to being a dweller.
Yep.
Let's
Goes
see.
back to being nothing.
If there's any questions on stocks, would you guys say 2023 has been normal action or on the slow side? Huddy or Jack?
I think it's been normal.
Normal in terms of what we've gotten since 2021, I would say.
I'm every other week there's something to kind of look at. The market is constantly has, some kind of gap or some kind of theme. And yeah, there are moments where there's not, and we've talked about this a lot, but like there are tons of opportunity that we've seen, especially in the past 4 months. I mean, which is a big part of the year. And like 2022, it was like literally every day I'd show up to the market, and every day I would just close my laptop and walk away. There was nothing moving. It was barren. At least it's not barren anymore.
I think the main difference between now and kind of when we were in your guys' shoes was the OTC market is non-existent. Definitely some good small cap stuff, some good large cap, mid cap stuff. But in terms of OTC, we've seen like 2 runners this year: HCNWF, Vang. Really, only 2 liquid runners we saw all year, and there's nothing. So that's been a little bit different, I think.
Yeah, I think the last 2 years have just been a really big grind. There's been money to be made every few months, but you had to really harness that discipline and patience. And I think Kellogg's done a really good job of that, where you walk away when there's nothing, you come back, you hit it hard. You walk away when there's nothing, you come back and you hit it hard. And if you have been trying to be that person who comes to the market every day and has to push buttons and has to make money, you're more than likely giving back a bunch of money during the weeks that Kellogg's taking off, and then not making enough to overcome that when the market does heat up, or you're mentally drained and mentally not prepared to execute because of the losses you've taken to actually do the best when there are multi-day runners in spurts. And that's something that I've really taken note of in the last 2 years. Like something that I think I've finally now, hopefully into a hot market, have learned my lesson is just like no trade is better than a bad trade. And there will be another play around the corner. It might be in a week and a half or 2 weeks, but it will be there. And it's my job to be patient for that. Any other stocks? Someone said SPY was the biggest. SPI was the biggest percent one, and TPST is number 2.
I think it broke it from what I saw Lucas share on Twitter.
What year
there have
was
only
that?
really been like 4 3,000% plus runners in the past 15 years. And they all got down.
Was SPY 1 day or 2 days?
1
day.
I think it was 2 days. Went from...
All I know is it opened up at 3, went sideways at 3, and then went to 40.
Yeah, I did that the next day, though, it looks like. I don't know. Pretty insane move. That's what we were talking about yesterday. It was just like how much worse it could have been for TPST if it didn't start at 20 cents and it started at $2. That would have changed the halt stuff, right?
Yeah, totally.
What is that little thing there? Do you guys see in the chat? It says $7.77. Do we allow donations? Do we just get a tip?
No way somebody donated to us.
Thanks for the morning preps and good luck. Thank you so much. Look at that. We have revenue in the chat. It says chat revenue, $7.77. Wow.
Management's going to be happy about that.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Go explore. If you have any question today, we would be happy to answer it. For that, that's just amazing appreciation. Super grateful for you. El Jefe says Momo flow back into Israel names. I saw that they had some news this AM. That would be your PRZOs. Or am I on a 3-year chart? Yeah, these are the ones, if you are a Clover, you see my watch list. Got them on first Green Day watch going forward. What was the other one? SDRC? No, SRDC? Someone help me. What was the one that ran the day after all of them?
SPCB.
SPCB. That's why we're friends. Some of them gapping below yesterday's lows, which is unideal for me going into first green days. We'll see where they open. PRZO's trying to open right around red greens. That would be kind of cool. SMX. Yeah. There was a question in here. Dom is a primarily long bias trader. How are you going on the year to date? Horribly. I think I'm up like $6,000. Actually, maybe like 10 grand now. And funny enough, most of my destruction has been on the short side. Top effed me up pretty good. But it's been a big growth year for me, and there'll actually be a YouTube video coming out soon about that, about my entire year and going to next year. Jack, I don't know, numbers wise, doing just fine, right? A lot of your money's been made in really short spurts, like at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I think I'm up like 1.8 million or something.
Just 1.8.
Just 1.8 this year.
Eric C says that's all it takes to get answers. LOL. Yeah, we never asked for that, so don't fault us. All we asked for is likes. But we appreciate it. We didn't even know that was possible. Yeah, didn't even know that was possible.
That was a super like.
Super like.
Any other tickers before we kind of wrap her up? Huddy, are you interested in TUP?
Yeah, my kind of idea on it is if it spikes on the third green day into this $3 area, I would kind of treat that as resistance to play off of and maybe fade it back towards 230 and capture it that way. Otherwise, let it have a day and then go after a red day on it. Those are my two approaches on it. So I'm probably just ignoring it if it goes red right out of the gate because it's not what I want.
Follow-up question Friday. They want to know how you're doing on the year.
I'm having a bare minimum 6-figure year.
Jealous.
It's I'm content with it, but obviously there are, certain situations and setups that I wish that I had pushed a little harder in terms of the size, and a couple losses I wish I could take back. TOP pretty ugly for me. That's like at least half my year right there, and one trade, which is never the goal. And other than that, I don't think I've had any really big losses, at least in 2023. So that's good.
Yeah, I was doing that video the other day, and I noticed that the first 2 months of the year, I was like healthily in the six figures to start, and then it just like slowly went downhill, and then it just like ramped up with the top loss, and then all confidence was gone, and we went into wounded animal mode, and it's taken a lot longer than it should have, but this happened with me in 2019 as well, where however long it takes to learn your lessons, it takes to learn your lessons. And some of us learn faster than others. Like Kellogg is able to adapt and adjust on the fly and be like, this is the way we're trading from now on going forward because this is what I see from the market. And some of us are maybe a little more stubborn with it. And it takes us more experience, like more times getting slapped in the face before we learn. Kellogg is famous for popping in, trading in the morning, being like, horrible day, negative $9,000, which is not that horrible of a day for him, and being like, I'm done for 2 days. And he learns his lesson. He touches the stove. It's a little hot. And he walks away. And others, we got to get the full hand on there. We got to really test it.
I'm not as good as Dom says. I've definitely, learned some things this year. But I think next year is going to be very similar. And I think that we're all going to be a lot more prepared for next year as we haven't had 2 consistent years in a row. It's always been something different. It's always been a different style of trading that has been most profitable. So hopefully next year is similar and we're not in this terrible recessionary bear market. And hopefully it's just pockets of opportunity as the SPY trends up.
Yeah. Usually it's kind of weird, but it usually correlates perfectly with my history, is when I start to learn my lesson from a market, that's when it changes. And it usually changes in a good way. Like in 2019, I started to get my feet back on the ground at the end of 2019. And then we weren't blessed with COVID. We were blessed with the market that came from it. And I was fully prepared for it. So all I can say is if you are out there struggling, or if this is the type of, the last year or two that you've been learning to trade in, do not feel like a victim. Don't feel upset with yourself, like, and be upset that others started in 2020 or others started in 2017. You wear that, I think the worst thing that can ever happen to someone is they start making money right away. I think you learn horrible lessons, you have horrible habits, and when the market changes, you get hurt the most.
I have a good anecdote for this.
Anecdote it.
I remember when I was trading with like both Tims in Italy at one point, and I was just like kind of pissed because I was like so stuck in this like make $1,000 a day, lose $1,000 the next day, but like could consistently make $1,000. And I'd always just, Gritani was right there. He made $80,000 in front of me. Didn't even crack a smile, just like closed his laptop and walked away. And I was like, how much? He said 80 grand. I just walked away. I was like, oh my God, like that's insane. Especially back, this was like maybe 2017. And I had like a talk with Sykes later that day, and he goes, listen, kid, you have to, and I was a kid at the time. And he's like, you have to realize that like Gritani's lived through a ton of different market environments. Like he had the OTC pump and dumps that were like wild in 2014, 2015, or 2013, whenever it was. And like these guys were able to build their accounts in moments of extreme fanaticism towards one sector or the other. And Tim in that moment was just like, you got to wait. You just got to learn how to trade, learn how to respect risk, and continue to master your patterns. And when you get your hot market, that's where you're going to expand your capital and be able to push further. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, he was right. Like, 2017, I was fretting that I never saw like a really sick OTC market. 2020, 2021 comes around. I see the sick OTC market, you make $1 million. Like that's literally what he told me would happen. And then it happened just in that fashion. So, when we get out of those hot markets, it's back to kind of preserve and continue to hone in on practices until, that market kind of shows itself again.
Yeah. And looking at how poor I've done this year, when you look at like my profit curve, it doesn't look as bad as it feels for me. I'm literally just sitting up by the highs going sideways all year. It looks just like a swizzle going on right now. And I know us traders, we really like to think about just being better and better and better each year. Like if you made 500,000 last year, I got to make 600, then 7, then 8, then $1 million, then 2 million. But what I learned this in the last year or two is that just doesn't really happen. And it's looking at it in 5, 10, 15-year intervals and looking at that profit curve over time, not necessarily on the time frames that you want to brag about or talk to people about. It really is irrelevant. And it's really just about growth. I'm 28, so I think I have a lot of years left of doing this in me. And, who I am today or what I accomplished this year is nothing compared to who I'll be in 5 years. So just always keeping that in the back of your mind too, about all these unrealistic expectations we set for ourselves on the time frames that we set for ourselves. But we'll wrap it up there. We want to thank Jack for coming along. We always love it. Someone asked, when is the next Clover boot camp? Huddy, hit him with the time frame. March. We are working on securing the location and all the details. If you guys want to get on top of management, hit us up on socials, on the Twitter sphere, in the comments. Tell them to get going on that so we can release more information on it. We know you guys love the in-person stuff, and we love doing it. Kellogg loves it the most. He's not even here anymore. Can't make a joke about it. But if you guys want to be a part of the movement, the rocket ship that is Clover, 7-day trial, in the link in the description. Get involved. Me and Kyle have a webinar today at 11 a.m. If you want to get in that, you get 7 days of action, access to all video lessons, webinars, Huddy and Dom, archived webinars, hundreds of hours of that stuff, as well as trade alerts, watch lists, and chat rooms. If you want to get in there, link in the description. And if you don't want to spend any money right now, but you want to learn something from us, Clover Academy, use code FREE at checkout, and that is completely free. It's like 3 to 5 hours of free content from us. We thank you guys for being here. We'll run this show back one more time tomorrow, 8:45 a.m. Be here or be square. We love and appreciate you. Thank you again. Go explore for the 777 lucky number tip. And thank you guys for everything. So we'll see you in the morning, and we'll see you 4 Leafs at 11 a.m. for a webinar. Thank you, Huddy.
Thank you.